I inherited a cabin in the woods, and something strange has been happening there lately. When my grandfather passed away in early 2020, I inherited his cabin in the forests of southern Norway. He was a carpenter by trade and built it himself in the 1960s as a weekend retreat. I spent many summers there as a child, so when my parents initially wanted to put the cabin up for sale, I insisted on keeping it. Reluctantly, they passed it on to me. The first strange incident I can recall happened about 3 years ago, in early 2022. The sun sets early in the winter here, so I arrived at the cabin in the afternoon, shortly after sunset. I strapped on my headlamp and started unpacking my car. Just as I had opened the boot, the wind suddenly died down. The usual rustle of leaves and distant bird calls vanished, leaving behind an emptiness that felt unnerving. You don't realize how loud the forest really is until you experience a true silence. I looked around, slowly scanning the tree line with my headlamp. The forest became darker by the minute. Eventually, I decided to switch off my headlamp so it wouldn't act as a beacon revealing my location. Growing up, I'd learned that when the forest falls quiet, it often indicates that a predator is nearby. I realized I only had two options: either remain by the car, or make my way over to the cabin and quietly unlock the door. The cabin sits in a clearing about 50 meters from the gravel patch I call a parking lot. I eased my car's boot shut and crept toward the driver's side door, figuring that if something really was out there, I'd be safer inside my car. The sound of the door opening echoed between the trees. A moment later, the familiar background noise faded back into existence, as if nothing had happened. I suppose it was a minor incident, yet it still lingers on my mind. It was the first time I'd experienced anything like it. Since then, I've read a lot of stories about this phenomenon, and it seems to be a common occurrence. However, experiencing it firsthand is unsettling in a way that sticks with you. The next strange incident happened just 2 weeks later. I woke up in the middle of the night to a loud noise outside. Peering through the blinds of my bedroom, I realized it had come from the small playhouse near the edge of the property, close to the tree line. The old structure had been repurposed as a shed for storing gardening tools. The sound had likely come from the wooden door being slammed shut, and the impact seemed to have left the door hanging halfway open. In retrospect, going outside to investigate wasn't exactly the brightest idea. But I got dressed, grabbed a flashlight, and stepped out into the cold night.